Coach Bennett will begin with an opening statement. Then we'll take questions directed first toward our student athletes.
Sure. You know, what a hard-fought game. I think there was a couple opportunities where we maybe could have laid down, but they didn't. And I told them what was remarkable about their season was, you know, sometimes you can get hot and have a 5 or 6 game stretch, but these guys did it from the Florida State game to win a regular season conference championship, and then they carried it through to the conference championship. Got here, and they don't have to hang their heads for how they played. And this, to me, is what's right about college basketball. To coach guys like this, it's a joy to coach Joe and Akil and certainly Malcolm up here, but these two seniors. You guys don't know them as well as I do. Some of the writers have, but what they're about is good. And I'm thankful that for 4 years I got to be a part of watching them grow from boys to men and turn our program around. And I always tell them, a desire accomplished is sweet to the soul, and they've left a legacy that they won't forget. It stings now and it's empty. And this is a team you don't want the season to end because you don't want to stop coaching them. But I thank God for the opportunity to work with these guys, and they should hold their head high, and they are what's right about the game, college basketball.
At this time, we'll accept questions for our student athletes Joe Harris, Akil Mitchell, and Malcolm Brogdon. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll send a microphone attendant in your direction. And the first question will be on the left-hand side to Zach from the New York Post.
Zach Braziller, New York Post. Over the first 10 minutes, they only had one player score, Dawson. What was it about him that you guys struggled with? Because you were obviously stifling the rest of their team.
Malcolm, can you begin with that question?
I think Dawson presents a challenge because he's very versatile. You know, he can move. He has great body control when he gets in the air. He plays through contact and is able to finish in a lot of different types of ways. So, you know, he was just a hard matchup for us at the beginning.
Akil, same question for you.
Yeah, like Malcolm said, he's an athletic player. He's quick. He's physical. And I don't know if we underestimated him or what, but he got going early and was able to get on the glass and get in front of the rim.
The next question's on the right side for Jeff.
Joe, some of the things that had been working offensively for the team most of the season seemed like they were very difficult to come by today. How good is Michigan State defensively, and what were they able to do?
Michigan State's a very solid defensive team. You know, very similar to us. They just made everything tough on you. They make you earn every basket, and I just thought they did a good job. You know, being in gaps, helping one another. It seems like they do a good job of just flooding, and you know, they're a good help defensive team.
We're looking for the next question for student athletes from Virginia. If you have a question, please raise your hand and identify yourself by name and media outlet before you ask your question. Any further questions for student athletes from Virginia? There's one in the back. Peter. Herbert.
Thanks, sir. Yeah, Herbert Delancey, Black Sportsman Magazine, is for either one of the UVA players. How great was it for you, even though you didn't have the outcome that you may have wanted to have, how great was it to come up pretty much from Charlottesville up here to New York to play in Madison Square Garden? Let's
go with Akil and then Joe.
It's a wonderful opportunity. Of course, to get a chance to play here in the Garden, it's a dream come true. You know, I'm proud of these guys for the way they fought all year. You know, we've always thought about and dreamed about for 4 years, Joe and I now, of getting to this point and playing on this stage. And so it's been a fun ride.
Joe.
Yeah, I would just say, you know, Akil and I have been through a lot in our 4 years here, and you know, this is how we wanted to leave the program. We wanted to leave it in a better spot than when we came in, and I think you know, we definitely did that. And for us to make it to a Sweet 16 was awesome. To play in the Garden was unbelievable. But what made it more special was just, you know, the team that we have. You know, it's a special team. The bond that we have with one another, with our coaches. With our trainer, I mean, it goes down the line with our managers. Everybody is close with one another, and you know, for all of us to experience it together, you know, made it, you know, such an unbelievable experience and something that, you know, we'll never forget for the rest of our lives.
Let's get some media attendance to the area outside the press conference room, please. Any further questions for the student athletes? There's one up front.
Doug Dowdy for the Roanoke Times. Malcolm, you guys shot 35.1%. Mostly their defense, or we feel like it's a cold shooting night at all?
I think I definitely have to credit their defense. They have a lot of good athletes. They contest shots, but we also miss some easy layups inside for sure. But I can't take away from their defense. I think they did a good job on us.
We're looking for the next question for the student athletes from the University of Virginia, if there are any. If there are no more questions, we'd like to thank Joe and Akil and Malcolm, and we're going to allow them to return to their locker room where they'll be available for media questions for the next 15 or so minutes. Thanks, guys. First question for Coach Bennett. Please raise your hand. We'll send a microphone attendant for you. Doug, go ahead.
Tony, was there anything about the way the game played out that you hadn't envisioned?
No, I mean, it was physical. You could see that. I thought we were a little – they sped us up early. We were a little impatient. And I thought we got into our groove defensively late in the first half. And even offensively, we started moving the ball better. They're very good defensively. I thought we had trouble scoring inside. Something that hurt us, Anthony rolled his ankle, Gil. He's such a scorer for us, and he couldn't move as well. I don't know if you saw that. So defensively it was hard, and offensively he didn't. So we lost a little bit of our scoring punch inside. And then Mike, there was some matchup problems defensively, with Dawson or Payne stepping out. So we were struggling a little bit to finish inside, and we actually did get some opportunities to score inside and couldn't finish, and that cost us at clutch times. So, but we knew you were going to have to work. You're going to have to outlast them, and it was a classic game. What I thought it would be. We left a few out there we probably should have got, but I told the guys not to hang their head because it was hard fought and it was enjoyable. I know for me.
Next question's on the right. Your name and media outlet.
Graham Couch with the Lansing State Journal. After they gave you that opening and you guys got back, you really had them on their heels a couple times. What about that Michigan State team, the guys who have been here and the kind of the sweat equity that goes with these situations? What makes them difficult in the final minutes?
Yeah, well, they made big three by Trice. I felt like momentum shifted. Justin hit the big three. I mean, we were really making some great stands defensively. We took them late in the shot clock. They looked a little stagnant, and they were having to make plays. How they scored almost were broken plays or transition buckets. But when you're in a game like this, with this much at stake at this level, plays have to be made, whether it's big shots hit or just a big block or something, and they did that. And we had a little trouble, down the stretch doing that. A couple times we broke down and they made us pay, but they're used to winning. I mean, they have obviously those guys, the experience, and they are a physical team. I think they're playing their best ball, and Dawson makes all the difference. He did today. He was a matchup problem for us, and that's where Anthony, I think, had he been healthy, could have been better on him. I'm not saying he would have shut him down, and then we get a little more punch offensively with that. But he really, he was good.
If you have a question for Coach Bennett, please raise your hand. We'll send a microphone attendant in your direction. Are there any further questions? There's one on the aisle in the center.
Jerry Ratcliffe, Daily Progress, Charlottesville. Tony, how tough is it going to be to say goodbye to these seniors, and what did you tell your team after the game?
Yeah, a little bit what I said in front of you guys there. They really are the kind of – you guys have been around them. You know how special Joe is and Akil, and, it's life. We had so many good things happen this year, unbelievable things, and this is part of it. You got to take the hard, and not that this is hard. It was what a joy to play in this setting and to get our program here, but big shoes to fill. But I think they've established this program, and I think it's going in the right way. And I think in time, they're going to be able to look back and feel so good about it. And they'll always be a part of it. I'm hopeful for their futures. Now I want to see them, whatever time they need to take off, get the best opportunities, and hopefully we prepared them well to have professional careers because I sound like a broken record, but they are what's right about college basketball. I've been around them. I know. I've seen them when it's not been good. I see their attitudes, and you could see they were. It was special in that locker room after. I didn't even have to say much, and the emotions there. And but I thought they laid it on the line in their last college game, and they'll remember it.
The next question's on the right toward the front.
Josh Mansour, Detroit Free Press. Tony, you touched on it a little bit, but Brandon Dawson's been a guy that has been talked about as being an X factor for Michigan State. Can he get to his potential for basically years in this program? And it seems like he's sort of coming into his own now. How difficult was he tonight, and how big of an impact did he have in this game?
Yeah, I mean, Akil's a terrific defender, really, for us. And early, he got by him and drew some fouls. Akil was just a little tight on him. And when I saw him do that to Akil a couple times, it made me nervous. And then the way Payne started the game, well, we got to switch the matchups, and then that was a hard matchup for our big guy, Mike Tobey. He's a matchup problem because he's so explosive, so athletic, and then he doesn't need a lot of shots. I know he got 16 shots, but he's always around the ball, and he plays much bigger than his height, and I can see why without him they were good. With him, they're really good, and that's what they need.
Are there any further questions for Coach Bennett? Just raise your hand. We'd like to thank Coach Bennett for joining us here in the interview room. He's going to head back to the University of Virginia locker room, where he'll be available for interviews for a few more minutes.